All right, let's start, and then you want to dive straight into this?
100%.
All right. Hello, and welcome to the Section 109 podcast. Here from Studio Breezy, I am joined as sometimes by Toby, Sir Mix-a-Lot, Bobble Juan. The normal faces that are here, Matthew and Jim, have swapped places, and the best-looking, helping us out member of the crew today is Coach Chris Nugent.
I appreciate that introduction. That was very good.
Did you say we swapped places?
We didn't swap places.
We're in the same places as
same.
normal.
Weren't you sitting there, and then he was sitting over there last podcast?
Well,
I'm always in the
normally
corner.
sitting- Yeah, but
Anyway, I
think
feel
I've
like
shifted some movement, so I apologise for moving out. This is where I was last time. I was comfortable in this corner. So
that is the
Yeah,
for those who are special guests get to be there. So
Oh,
Jim,
is that
so
right?
Jim gets to be a special guest, except
Okay.
he's not really a guest anymore. He's just one of us. But for a little while, he was the guest, and now there's there. But so Chris, I think, may have heard about our last podcast where we may have said some salacious things about
I
his
didn't say
expected goal
anything.
models. I definitely did. And some of those were just jokes, but some of those were real. So he's actually brought a presentation that we've decided to go through. It is on a TV in the pod studio right
I feel
now.
like I
so
should take a picture of this just for like socials.
Sure, to shoot a picture of it. You can see how I've had to move things around. But the good news is, if Chris decides to share this with us, if it goes well, or if not, you never heard any of this, we'll hopefully overlay this in so you guys can see some of what's talked about. So, Chris, take it away. Take us to where you want to go.
well, the plan. Well, I've been told. I have been notified that some people that aren't fans of my expected goal model or some of the way I use evidence, but that's okay. Everyone does
How
things
he
their own
uses
direction.
evidence.
I'm not
Data.
I'm not going to say that anyone in this room has said that. I was told that I think be prepared for this to be challenged. So this is essentially part of some presentations that I did. I did pull some clips and stuff that was special just for you guys. So if we miss out on any key players that was based on this afternoon, then we know why. But we'll see. I expected to show this before I got on, and then I'd get approval, or no, don't do that. So
I
this will
think
be the first time live. We'll see.
I think doing it live is so much better. Also, I definitely did say you were cooking the books. That is for sure
that was
something.
you, okay.
That was me.
On,
that was
on
me.
no fewer than a half
multiple
dozen times this year.
Yes.
And some of those were jokes, but a lot of those is because like I look at your numbers and I look at like all jokes. I look at your numbers and I look at the other numbers, and it's like they don't match. Now yours are much closer to reality, which of what we scored and didn't score. So that's helpful for your case.
Yeah, there might be some evidence behind
might
that,
be
right?
some-
It lines up.
But
Maybe.
also, I've never seen an expected goals model be so wrong. Like no, I mean like like
So wrong?
the one that
This
we
is incredible
the
already.
the public one that we got be so far from another one that we then see. And so usually if we see like reality is we scored all these goals, and then like not reality or like spreadsheets or that we shouldn't have, then you go we're underperforming or we're overperforming or whichever the thing is. But then yours says a totally different thing, which makes me scratch my head a lot.
But I think I didn't say. I should have said this last time when you were just railing on his model. That I think
Questioning. I would say
think
questioning.
All that's important for people like us is that a model is internally consistent.
For sure.
Like if it judges all teams equally, then sure it may not be as predictive, as another model may be, but it still says something that if we're averaging 1.3 xg and somebody else is averaging 1.8 xg, as long as the model is consistent, you can use that for analysis. Now you may want to not use it for betting or predictions.
That's something he actually said on the last podcast about like tweaking things for if you were betting, you'd want it to be whatever. But
Yeah.
Anyway, well, I'll quit blabbering. But yes, it was definitely
so
me.
just to be clear, my model is the one that's wrong, not the free public model, is what you're saying. That's just to be sure. It has to be my public model, my model that was wrong.
I'm not sure your model is wrong. My suggestion was how could this public model be so wrong in comparison? Because if there's
Was
no
it wrong to your model? Because I think you seem to side quite opposite the other way. So.
I don't have a. I would. By the way, I would like your model to be right because your model would mean, from my reading of it, that we underperformed in some areas rather than overperformed, which would mean room for growth, easy growth, rather than like me being right, quote unquote, and seeing that like, oh my God, we overperformed massively and we were very lucky, which I think doesn't explain the whole story. We talked a lot about. We think a lot of it is like an Eldon unbelievable performance for a year, which helps explain a lot of the defensive stuff. We don't have a good option for understanding the offensive stuff. But I think we were able to explain away a lot of the difference in the defensive models. But the offensive models, I don't know the difference. But
I'd also say with my model, it's not just expected goals. There's all these things that go into it and what creates it and leads to it. And there's other key performance indicators as well that we focus a little bit on. I'm only going to talk about this today and see some of your opinions on it as well.
Let's do it.
Because you guys are...
Yeah, let's get into
You
it.
guys have been harassing me for this, so here we go. So basically, you guys are familiar with expected goals, right? It is a simple tool to help, so not to rule and be all and end all as much as we like. It doesn't predict individual results. I'm sure everyone is familiar with this. When I first started doing expected goals nearly 13 years ago, I didn't even know it was called expected goals. It was just a model to maybe help with some of the attacking stuff and to help me give better information. 1 equals a goal, 0 is nothing. It's essentially just a percentage of how often that shot goes in. And I think this is where models vary because of how they interpret that shot. Just a shot from the penalty spot isn't great if it's with the back of your head, if you're falling over. So there's different factors with it. And sometimes I don't feel that all models take that into account. We have AI, which is a fantastic tool, but it also can be a little bit hit or miss.
Do you think there are humans looking through, like at the Opta model as an example for our league? Do you have any inclination on whether they're using humans to?
I mean, there's humans that work there. I don't know if they are going through every aspect of the game. I know for sure there is AI that uses some of the data that we get immediately from the game. When we go in at full time, there's data right there for it, and it's based off of the AI and the camera. So if the camera has confused players or it has missed something, it can be a bit off then with that. Sometimes it misses shots, so I go back in and I try and re-find all the shots that the AI has tagged, and it's missed some, and some are quite obvious, and some aren't so obvious. And then there's things that aren't a shot that they've tagged it. So that's kind of why we use our own information.
These are all things that, with my limited stretch of experience inside of Y Scout, when humans in Eastern Europe were watching games and tagging stuff, they would also get things wrong.
Yeah, humans are great at making mistakes as well. So my way is no way perfect. But
I'll challenge you, if you want to know how. I mean, I used to. You don't know this, but they may remember at one point. I watched games and counted. Like I used completed passes for possession, which I know is not the metric that most people use now. And I watched and counted passes and did it. And I would watch a game 3 times, 1 time for passes, 1 time for other things, and then generate stats. That took me, because I would watch it on like 1.5 speed, but that took me like 5 hours to do one CFC game. I quickly stopped doing that.
It's quite time
So
consuming.
the fact that they could get the data they get
Immediately
is because to do it as someone like a layperson, it's insane. And if you're doing duels and all that stuff, I mean, you forget it if you're just one person.
Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into it, and I've been similar in my past where I've gone through and looked at shots and touches and passes, and back at Stumptown, it was me with a notepad, play, pause, and then going through there and writing things down.
Stumptown didn't have any money for a
data analyst
No,
for computers.
they didn't. I think they were spending it on other areas.
Is that how you got your XY?
No, I had this back a long time, in 2013. I think I started this. So I can explain a little bit more of how I got it as well, and the number of shots, and it's not just a random feeling. So key things that I look at, like the type of the shot, the location, the speed of the ball, the spin of the ball, how much goal is available, direction of pass, time on the ball. All these factors are important that everyone will maybe interpret differently, but I think they're quite obvious at times. Maybe the spin on the ball can be a little bit harder when you're watching.
You're talking about spin on the pass?
Yeah, when that ball is coming to you, if it's got backspin, if it's bobbling, if it's knuckling, all these factors make a big difference in finishing the ball. Here's some shots. So shout out the XG on them if you'd like. Come on, you got to shout it out. It's got to be quicker than that.
Oh wow, that was really
yes.
fast. Okay.
What's the XG?
On that first one.
This one here.
That?
I mean, that'd be very low.
0.2. Oh, I'm sorry, 0.02. I mean,
0.02. Okay.
That one's got to be a lot bigger, maybe 0.1.
okay. Oh,
That's got to be like a 0.05 or something. It's going to be very low.
That's better.
That's got to be I don't know what.
I feel like all of these so far have been 0.1 or under.
Okay, perfect. What I will say as well is that expected goals doesn't always translate to the save. So just because of a shot is a low quality, if it's flying into the top corner, it's a big one. So I don't want anyone to be bashing Eldon and saying, oh, that was a low percentage shot.
If it's on target, it's on target.
Where it ends up is very different coming through players. So there's obviously different metrics for looking at the shot. So I don't want to think that the low quality shot can often be because of the defenders and what they do. But ultimately, if that ball is mishit and spinning into the top corner, that becomes a difficult save for anybody.
So
The difference between shots or the XG and the shot and the post shot.
Post shot expected goals is different, yeah. So the XG doesn't work necessarily great for a goalkeeper. If you may have like a 0.5 or 0.6 chance and I've hit the corner flag with it, the goalkeeper is different. So it works with defending and kind of team defending, but individual goalkeeping is more of a different stat as well. And I think you guys have spoke about like block shots and
expected goals on target as well.
And expected goals per shot as well. That's a big factor.
When we looked at in the public model, there was, the XG that Opta had us defensively giving up.
Yeah.
And then we ran the post shot on target or whatever number.
Yeah.
And we ran at 90%, 90% on target compared to what we gave up overall, which was best in the Eastern Conference, and it wasn't that close.
Yeah.
Like, I think second best was maybe 93%. And then you had teams like, the Columbuses, Miamis that were close to like 108, 109%.
Yeah.
Like in the other direction. So
it looked like we interpreted that as having blocked a ton of shots or forced shots wide. We have a theory that maybe there's a reputational thing where, like Eldon being Eldon, some guys may have tried a little too hard in some moments. And because if you take away a bunch of expected goals on target rather from the expected goals total, it's like, why? And blocking obviously feels like a really clear indicator, right? Because those don't count as on target, right?
No, but the shot counts as a shot, whether it hits a defender in the shin or goes through him or pass through. And we want, when we talk about, this is a very offensive based model, but when we talk about the defensive side of it, it's about downgrading the shot. And can you make that higher chance to a lower chance? That's a skill in itself. And sometimes we forget to applaud that, like the centre backs or the outside back did a really good job in making that shot difficult. So that's part of the game.
Yeah, let's keep going.
All right. So these are the key shooting zones. There's more on the field. These are the areas that we look for when we do the expected goals. I kind of narrow it down into those zones. I have, like I said, the model has for outside the box and all these others, but this is but I can't give you all the information.
That's
you
fair.
need something to make fun of. So the center is what we refer to as the goal zone. We've got the box cross. I stole these ideas off of someone so long ago I forgot who they were. The zones are my own. This is something I used when I first did it to categorize my own shots. And then you go on, obviously this is the half space or the interior channel for other models that run through the field. Essential attacking zones. So some of the behaviors we're looking for are based on these types of areas. Essentially, that's the key area for scoring goals, which no one's going to be surprised for. It's not a hard line. A millimetre outside of it or half a yard outside of it is still a chance. So we would never say, oh, he's 1 yard away, just let him shoot. There's a lot of factors that go into making these shots difficult, and sometimes that's the decision-making of players on either side of the ball. I used to categorize it as A shot, B shot, C shot, D shot, and then it's plus or minus in between. So when I first did this, I did this model on the top 5 European leagues and the MLS. So me and a friend of mine, so shout out to Mark, who I dragged into this, who's fantastic at this now. We went through and watched every single shot and categorized it as an A, a B, a C. We had access to Y Scout to make it a little bit quicker. At first, we didn't. So I did this in Academy Soccer as we were going through, and then I did it with a Y Scout model. So we would kind of divide and conquer and go through with it.
And so would an A shot be like a perfect hit or an A plus?
You'll get there. I've included that. But what it allowed us to do was track, and we were over 10,000 shots over the course of the year. So it's a huge database of model that between us we watched. And then at some point, I don't know the correct term for it, but when the number gets high enough, 3% is going to be 3%. So if someone knows that, please put it in the comments so I can learn it, because I always struggle to remember what it is.
Math nerds out there, symbol.
So essentially it becomes great shots, good shots, average and poor shots. In the goal zone, so an A would go in 55% of the time. So an A shot, we'll talk a little bit about it. A good shot, an average shot. This is in the goal zone, in the box cross area, and then the central attacking zone. So essentially a great shot is a one-on-one. So if you're on the edge of the box and you're one-on-one, you're around that 25% based on it. There's many factors that go either way. If you're in the penalty box, it's around 55%. If you're on the 6-yard box, it's very different from the penalty spot. But this is the general overall for it. A great shot or an A shot would be full goal to aim at. You have the ability to aim the ball so you're not falling over. You have time on the ball. The ball's in control. It doesn't mean you have to have touched it, but it's kind of synced with you moving, and your body is adjusted to strike the ball. Good shot. You've got half the goal to aim at, so I class that as a B. Your partial ability to aim, so maybe you can get 1 foot on. You can strike it how you want with 1 foot. You have some time on the ball. You never really have time on the ball in the game, but you have enough time to get a shot off without it being blocked or without hitting it into somebody. Your ball is some type of under control, the bounce spin on the ball, and then the body is adjusted for the strike. And then a poor shot, it's not necessarily a poor shot, but we've got to make fun of something. You guys make fun of me, I make fun of shots like this. Limited path to goal, players off balance, the ball's out of control, spin or bounce on the ball, players obstructing the shot. So if I was looking at the shot and he had multiple of these things, I say, okay, that's a C shot, or he's got a small path to goal. And then that C gets referenced to the area on the field, and then you use the database to go from there. Okay. So those are factors. So when I'm looking at it, you can have a varied of them. So why we think that's an easy tap-in because he's in front of the goal, if we don't accept that there was spin on the ball or it's slightly behind him or he couldn't have hit anywhere he want, that level of shot starts to go down.
Do you think that other models don't take some of these or many of these variables into account?
You'd have to ask them. I don't know. This is just I don't know.
I can't imagine an AI model taking this,
but
or a random person charting shots during a game taking all of this into account.
Well, plus I don't know how you quantify. Like, so if you're ever going to put it into like a regression model to generate I don't know how you would quantify the spin, like in a number like a 1 through a 10. Like I don't know how you would quantify unless you had the actual spin rate of the ball.
So it goes off of like the consistent. You have the plus and minus where you can go from there, and then the different areas of it. And then sometimes it might be in what I felt was zone 3, but it's on the edge of zone 4, so you feel with that. And then I've been doing this for a very long time now and watched a lot of shots, so I have a good understanding of it. Especially when I'll rewatch shots today and go back and compare it to the expected goals notes that I took 6 months ago, and they're fairly accurate. So even after a game when I'm emotional, I know that I'm quite big on this model. So if I fudge the numbers, that just discredits kind of what I'm doing as well. So I get that it is sometimes positive to go, but I think too many people now know that 10 years ago you could say, oh, well, the expected goals was this, and people are like, well, there's not even a real thing, and ignore it. And now it's, oh, hang on,
it's everywhere.
I was watching this, I saw it. So there's more, I guess, qualified opinions on it.
Is Mix growling?
Mix is snoring.
Okay, perfect. Let's see. I didn't tell I was going to be exciting. So
I am locked in, but Mix uninterested.
So things that are positive.
Let me just celebrate this real quick.
Nice.
So this may be your least viewed podcast, so I'm sure people will be off it by now. Some positives for expected goals, right? Can you upgrade the shot? So when you were talking about defending earlier, it would be some of the opposite of things. So again, some of this is obvious. Like, can you get close to the goal? You can't just say only score when you're closer to the goal. So wherever you feel you're in the shooting position, if you can train or prepare yourself to have these or that to be part of your intentions, it's going to help. Like, you'll see the guys that, okay, maybe I could have just adjusted the ball. I could have pushed it to the side. I could have let it run a little bit further. That would have been an upgrade. It doesn't mean can you beat your man, run around and go from the edge of the box to the 6-yard box. And sometimes people think that it's banning shots from other places. It's, well, you're falling over. Do you think that was a good chance to shoot? Can you maybe balance yourself? How much of the goal do you have to aim at, and then the ability to finish one touch. And one thing I will say is, because everyone said, well, this is going to be different from Ronaldo, it's going to be different from Messi. When we first did this and people told me that, I was like, okay, I'm going to have to find this out. And we did Kane, and we did Messi, we did Ronaldo, we did Jose Altidore. And Jose Altidore was one of the higher finishes of that in an area that didn't really matter. The top forwards usually are more consistent in what I'd call the C shot, that lower poor quality. They're more controlled with it. They're more precise. So yes, it does, but it doesn't make a huge difference. It's not as though Messi is 99% when he shoots and someone is. It's relative to the level as well. If we find a level where I'm a good player, I'm going to be similar to Harry Kane at a level where he's a good player. You push me up a level, and that's kind of sometimes how we do the scouting. It's guys that can overachieve in those areas, and you can see that transfers and trades across.
I see. Yeah, it makes sense.
So, yeah, I mean, over Highland Park, maybe I'll be quite a good forward. I don't know about it anymore. At one time, I felt I was quite a good forward. But when you jump up that level, it's the same thing. Just because someone scored 15 goals in this league doesn't mean they're going to go do it in the Premier League. And that's the obvious, but sometimes people forget that.
Yeah. Also, isn't that those top forwards are much better at getting shots, not just at finishing? Like maybe they're a little better at finishing, maybe not, but they're a lot better at getting in positions to get shots.
Yeah, they spend less time, I think, thinking about taking the shot, and they just do it and get in the position. You watch how it's natural in their strides as well. And I don't think they're going through and thinking all these things. Like these are reactions to what people are good at. You see it, and then it's okay. This
is us quantifying what somebody's
good at. These are some of the things
at.
that the key guys do. And I'm sure they work on it as well. You don't get to that level without you don't accidentally get to that level. So
yeah.
Again, some of the negatives: so the distance from goal, the angle to goal, the spin and the movement on the ball. So if you're far away from goal, is it a good opportunity to shoot? What might be a good reason to shoot from 30 yards out?
Goalkeeper's out.
Perfect, right? So it's not that gives you a big angle, like those types of things. If
I'm glad you said that, Dom.
Yeah,
because I was going to go a different direction.
Yeah,
outside the box is 2 points.
Yeah, it could be. You never know with the
coming to MLS Next Pro.
Yeah,
don't tempt them. Do not tempt them with any new rules.
We need to put circles on the field. If you take a shot from the circle, you get a bonus point.
Was that like the Globetrotter 3 where it counts as 4 from the?
Yeah.
Oh my god! What is path to goal? What does path to goal
So
mean?
like the area you have to go, like if there's 3 players in the way, there's no clear path of that ball to go in.
Got it.
A good shot is a lot of space. If you can shoot anywhere, it's tougher for many reasons for the defensive forward. If you've only got to shoot between someone's legs, that's tough. Shooting between someone's legs is a great idea if you are 3 yards from goal and you're just poking it through.
Yeah.
It's also like the chances of scoring a low shot are very high inside the box, which is why set pieces can be quite valuable because you don't need a fantastic opening. It's so close that there's no chance of reaction or blocking the ball. Whereas outside the box, it's a bit different. So there's all these factors. If the goalkeeper's out of the goal, do you need to take as much time to get control on the ball? Maybe different. So I think understanding what's important is what you're trying to achieve and what is helping him and not helping on both sides of it.
So you would downgrade significantly a shot if 4 guys are in the path of where they could potentially shoot rather than one guy and the goalkeeper.
Yeah. Would you say a penalty is 76 if there's a man standing 11 yards out?
No, definitely not.
So it's
no, I agree with that.
Yeah,
I
it's
just
basic as that, unfortunately. And then is a penalty the same if the ball's bouncing or if someone is spinning it or you have spun around a circle and you're not balanced? Like all those factors we know are obvious. Those impact that expected goal, the quality of the shot. And players, we don't have time to think through all of this. So it's how can you just help their overall understanding of it? It's never a checklist of these got to be perfect, these got to be perfect, because we're never going to score that. And we've seen some, even in my time here at CFC, some wonderful goals that on a spreadsheet or expected goals model you wouldn't.
Are a terrible idea.
And like no shot's a bad idea if it goes in. Like no, it's that simple.
Absolutely.
And I would quite happily win the final with a shot from 60 yards out that bounces everywhere or comes off of someone's backside or a knee.
This takes me to the lowest XG shot in CFC history that a goal was scored on. It was an Everson Lima header.
Oh yeah.
From like 50 yards.
And it bounced and went over.
Was that mine?
Georgia Revs.
Oh, Georgia Revs. Oh, that's right. Yes.
Muddy. He hits it. It bounces in the box over the. I mean, like.
Yeah, a header.
It was basically a clearance.
A header
with a head
yards.
from 40 yards out.
Yeah,
it was
50 yards.
Insane.
Yeah, that's
high percentage shot, right?
That's
Definitely take it every time. We work on that as well. We've been trying that.
Do you?
Don't be surprised when it comes.
From 40 yards.
Yeah, that's every Wednesday. That's
a good drill.
Yeah.
I want to be there for that drill.
Yeah, we might start selling tickets for that one. So all of these factors that are a little bit natural when I'm watching to go through, these are all factors that go into the model for it. So it's not just a random, I think that goes in this amount of time. So I try and share some of this with players. It's, again, they're here for a reason. They've got this far without it. So it's kind of how we fine tune them. Same as we were talking about defending and their body shape and the distances of their feet apart. All those factors can make them better. So the same thing here.
Did we do a lot of work this year or was this innate? Well, I should back up. We all felt like we blocked a lot of shots this year. Was that about downgrading chances and then blocking shots? Do you feel like that was just because we had some players that were particularly good at blocking shots? Do you reject that premise of that question? Like, how do you think about that?
Both. One, I think when you're trying to sign players, you shot players that naturally do some of the things you like or fit, whether it's your game model, your style of play, or individual moments. We do work on it. It is part of the game. Like, we're planning to get some really good attacking players. So if we can make it harder, why not make it harder? And we know, obviously, we've got a fantastic goalkeeper, we've got a fantastic back line. They do those behaviors. They also love defending. Like, that's
that was evident. That was evident.
You can run a training session where there's a lot of defending, and those boys are loving every second of it. And you got to dial
You
them
can't
back
teach
sometimes.
that.
Yeah,
You either
and
have
it's
that
good.
or you don't.
Yeah, and that's cool as well. So yeah, Adam and Chris, they do a lot of fantastic work with the defending unit. Sometimes in the week we'll split, and the attackers will go one end and the defenders will go the other. And it's professional soccer, right? You're trying to be successful, and it's no point in saying, oh, well, I don't want to work on that. We're going to do things this way because of, I think someone sitting on this couch said, we also like winning soccer games, or football matches. I don't know how you said that.
But all that matters is we won. All that matters is we got a home game.
Yeah, and also winning brings attention for potential recruits, for fans, for entertainment. That's part of the game as well. So we're trying to find that balance of doing things how we want to do, and then this can unlock the next step for us a little bit as well.
Yeah, we do this to feel things, and winning makes you feel things.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, when people talk about, do you enjoy your job? Well, we win, and everyone's cheering, and you get like, I do enjoy that part. So
yeah, we'll definitely come back to that because this was a roller coaster. I'm sure for you more than anybody.
We'll get that when people wake back up from this. So we're gonna go. I'm gonna play that shots again. On the left will be what a popular scouting database used for the XG, which is probably similar to what you guys see. On the right will be mine. So we're just going to go through.
Beautiful. This is my favorite part.
Yeah. You guys are going to call out the XG as quick as you can because I've just given you this. There's no time to think about it. It's so easy. I know you guys have said that coaching's the easiest job in the world. Just pick the...
That I haven't said. That I haven't said.
I'm going to go back and listen to more. I know Sebastian's going to do. Using all these
man
factors,
management is something that definitely I have no ability to do.
Using all of these factors. So it'll pause and give you a little bit more time on it. And then at the end, it'll show you.
So this is going to be from the edge.
If we go. So I'm going to pause the moment of contact because that's when I would send the XG.
That's a terrible shot.
How many times out of 100 do you think that will go in?
Also, if you take
I was gonna say,
25 to
what?
11.
No.
That's the pub. So one of those
crazy.
is my model. Okay, here, same thing. Loop and header.
This was actually from the game that I was yelling about when we were on our last podcast, by the way.
One says 25 times, one says...
This is when I was yelling about big chances.
This is how they got like 7 big chances in that game.
Yeah, so here you go. Spinning around.
First off, that's a great touch to set this thing up.
It is.
That's not that high either, yeah.
0.1, so a 10 would be for mine, so...
That's the first one that I thought was a decent chance. They've all had...
I would 10% chance in the box. Oh, yeah, you have to go for that.
Never against Eldon.
That's never going to be. That's like...
According to...
0.41?
It's 0.41.
This
particular
guy has scored
0.05 to 0.25.
So is that a 1 in 4 or?
I mean, it's.
I don't think that's 1 in 4.
That's more like what? That's more like. I would say that's pretty. That should be.
No, that should be a reasonably.
Oh, not
you
not
didn't like
0.05.
you didn't like that chance.
So
that's not 0.05.
So think of the control on his body. I can't go through all the way. We can run it through again if we maybe.
Actually, I'd love to know some of your thoughts on like why you. Because there's only basically 2 of the 5 or whatever that I had any disagreement with on your end.
Okay.
Like
Does that make sense?
There's
Like,
a defender there.
Well, that's better than what it
Eldon's
was
there.
last week, right? So again, not under control of his body. The ball's behind him.
Well, this one's a
header.
terrible chance. Also, Nathan would be in the way to block
yeah.
that if it's on target.
Here, the ball's looping back. Can he get enough power on the
it's
ball?
behind it.
It's under it.
No,
It's
it's
kind of,
that-
yeah.
Well,
So think of how many times out of 10 that's going in.
That's
Even
true.
if you
He's
just
not getting
say
he's not getting any power on that.
Even if
at
you just
all,
say
so.
same thing here. I like this chance. It's not the highest level, but I would agree to take it. It's a quick shot. It's going to force a good save if it's on target, right? So I think 10. For
Yeah,
that.
this one's
10
a lot
times out of
closer.
100, yeah.
Yeah,
1 out
I
of 10.
think that's.
One out
I
of-
think one. I think
This is the
low.
worst thing I've.
Here's the model you guys think is perfect against Paul. You guys have been harassing me for a year about.
No, 4.
That one's
no, 0.4
crazy.
is high. I mean,
That's
point-
4 yards.
the
That's
angle-
4 yards from
Here,
the
we've got
goal
2
line
players
there.
blocking. If
Yeah.
It's
got to go over across. If that goes, there could be a very difficult save. I'm not saying that in here. It's looping. He's moving away.
This one looks like an.
No,
can't
that's
get
not
power.
0.05. I'll just
Okay.
that's the one I disagree.
That's the
with
only one I really see as like. But I get what you're saying with the
I would
leaning.
consider that last one upgrading that one to like
he hits that in the
0.1,
gra-
like
if
some
he-
of the others.
Okay,
but-
I'll accept the argument of 5 of point 0.005. So,
but I'll also
I think that's fair. If you want to say it's 1 out of 10, that's okay. Instead of 1 out of 20, that's not a huge difference.
Sure.
In terms.
I'll
So
also-
when you add all of those up,
what you just showed though, for sure the left side, their model was insane. I mean, 30 times as high as yours on some of those, and more than triple or quadruple too high on all of them. Even the ones where I think they should be closer, like yours should be closer to theirs. It's so far out.
Here's the shots here. Those 5 or 6 shots, that's my expected goals for it. That's their expected goals for it.
It's a lot. It's a big difference.
So it's a big difference. So if you don't agree, you felt one with mine was 5% higher. So we'll say it was 0.53. What did you feel the last one was?
Oh, I would have been more like 0.2.
Okay, you're coming to Finley tomorrow, and we're gonna see how many times.
No.
We're gonna do it 100 times. Eldon's gonna come out as well. We're gonna do it 100 times, and you're gonna show us at 0.2.
Well, if Eldon's coming out, he's getting 0.
There's an interesting piece here because the model that we are using analyzes more strictly goalkeeper positioning. When you have someone like Eldon, who is a freak, I would assume that his positioning is quite good, especially relative to
a quite accurate assumption, I would say. Yeah,
to like other just your garden variety, keeper in this league or just generally speaking. So that would also have an effect because he was in perfect position in every single one of those.
Yeah, I mean he's a very good goalkeeper. If you guys haven't figured out, it's like those are factors too. If coming into it,
so that's just. I guess I'm just saying that's another nuanced reason why our model would be different than a more standardized.
Yeah, it's going to be a difference. It's not going to completely change it night and day. I mean, when that ball is on that guy's head or on his foot, that's when the expected goals come out.
Yeah.
Like, your goalkeeper will help you overachieve with big saves and good positioning. You see it all the time. Sometimes the goalkeeper's in the wrong position and ends up being hit by the shot, and it's a great save. And other times he's out of position and he figures it out and goes. So those are factors.
Do you downgrade any shots based on or upgrade any shots based on that it's Eldon and you expect him to make saves that like maybe a regular keeper wouldn't?
It's all based off of the model that I've done, and it's a cool thing. Marcus as well, shout out to him. He would always have expected nags, and he was like, that model doesn't apply to me. So,
that is the most Marcus thing of all time.
Expected nags.
Everything was a goal scoring chance with him, and he would get it. So he would find a ways out of it. So, even if like we were to go back to your point, right? So you felt that was I'm not going to accept that at 0.2. I'm sorry until you come out to Finley and test that. I'll let you upgrade it, but that is going to be very high. So even if we say, okay, let's say there was 5 there and there was 4 there, that takes us to 0.6, 0.7. It's not a huge jump.
Yeah.
We are
less than half.
Yeah, we're miles away with some of it. And again, it's not all the shots are like that, but there's plenty of shots where I think it's a 0.05 and they give it a 0.12 and then adds up and adds up. So,
sure.
And then the big chances goes based off of the numbers. So
it also makes a lot more sense if they're using AI, which I really hadn't thought of, instead of a random person watching, and you're being much more careful as you go through and watch, like that their model is just flawed.
Well, I guarantee
their data collection is
that
flawed.
Public
actually,
model is heavy on just XY. I mean that it's
it's shot location often. Yeah, so
that's probably almost all location.
Those shots are in a great location if you're under control of your body, you haven't got pressure.
Yeah. There was. To just like help me talk through the understanding of like upgrading or downgrading a shot. The Carolina core chance, the number 14, the left-sided player. I've watched his tape in the last 2 weeks, and he would love to get into those type of positions and cut in on his right foot. And I know that he scored a goal during this season, taking one top corner in that kind of position. I think it's Fareed and maybe it was Logan, and Fareed sliding over to take away that kind of top corner at most of the goal. So the only option he has is to go through legs to Eldon's side, and he's just like kind of right there. Would that be an example? Like, would Fareed's positioning moving over in that chance, would that be an example of, this shot could have been this.
Yeah,
but now it gets downgraded.
And that's why Fred's such a good defender.
That's not 0.41. That's not even remotely 4.4.
This is the craziest thing I've ever seen.
I don't know. I'd love to see what model that is. I don't know any model that close to the byline.
Here's the one.
Drunken Y-Scout.
So again, there's multiple players in front of the goal. Right, so that's a natural behavior from some of them, like not diving in, like blocking the shot rather than jumping in to take it. You sort of see all the time guys kick and swing and they're off balance. The guy goes around.
I feel like Fareed went
That
like
is just
full
not 0.05.
Argentine this year in terms of like just like being patient
Yeah.
and just reading kind of.
And that's part of it as well. And not to say that that's what I mean. Fred has those tendencies. That's why I was so big on Fred 2 years ago when we signed him. Like he naturally did a lot of things that make you successful. And it's the same with, we talk about the cutting inside and shooting from there. Like these are all factors that are really big to have success from. So it sounds simple, but if you can stand in front of the goal, it's harder to score. And sometimes the game gets so wild, guys don't always do that. Or you can take advantage because someone might dive in a little bit. We've all seen and loved defenders that go charging in like a freight train, and then they get skidded by. So those are factors that the players are good at, the coaches share, and it's like not everything you give the player they pick up, and sometimes they pick it up without you telling, and sometimes they're just good at it. So that's part of the recruitment with players, is finding guys that have those natural tendencies that fit our positional profiles. Like, do they do this often? And sometimes we don't always get that, and then you have to adjust and make differences elsewhere.
Now I'm questioning all of the expected goals across the league that we've been
But again,
looking at.
I'll go back to even if you say like 1.65 is really, really high, but that same model is judging other teams.
That's exactly.
And so if that other model is so in other words, if they're judging them and the other team's at a 3.0, we're at a 1.65, and it still has value.
It has some value for sure.
And not to him.
Yeah, well,
No, it's
not for his purposes, but for our purposes, yeah. I mean, it's just to talk about the games.
It's not always consistent, I think, which is what the issue. There are times when that shot we've seen there that is 0.4, they will flag it as a 0.1. So that's the issue at times. There's times I look at shots that are both the exact same number and they look very different. So
well, and there are some games we went through and looked at like game by game. We didn't like read them out game by game. We looked at game by game, comparing yours and the public model. And like there are games where they match. Mm-hmm. There's just not many games where it's like 3 of them.
Yeah.
And then the rest of them are pretty different, which is, it's odd. But it does make more sense it also makes more sense that I think you're taking in a lot more things into account, which makes, now that I've seen this, your model more accurate. As opposed to theirs is just there's. I mean, I think if you don't have a bunch of guys back, it's probably it's not apples to oranges. But we had a lot of guys back a lot of the season, and if it's not taking into account as much having guys back, as an example, like because MLS Next Pro is I'm guessing here, but it's a very open league. It feels like at times, especially with young defenders, like
especially if we're not playing.
Right, but if we're a lot deeper, and we definitely were deeper. I mean, look at Huntsville and those games we played against Huntsville. Which I don't know if you ever looked at the public model XG versus Huntsville, but like it's brutal.
There was one of the Huntsville games I had them above 3, one of them. Mm-hmm. So
I mean, and they created a lot, right?
Yeah, it's also like there's many ways of creating a high XG. There's other factors that go into it as well. And like I remember when I was a big Tottenham fan and Villa Boas was there. They seem to be trying to create a high XG through multiple chances. If we take 35 shots, we're going to score one of them. Yeah. And you will do, but consistently it's not.
And that only works while you have like prime Gareth Bale, and it stops working immediately after.
And even then, like the XG per shot is important. I have, obviously I've spoken about before, like trying to achieve over 2 expected goals per game. That isn't always easy to do. We all know what it takes to win a marathon. It doesn't mean we can go out and run 2 hours. So sometimes you have to make adjustments and look at other areas where you can win. So there's a bit like ideally to get to that too. There's multiple ways of doing it. Set pieces are part of that. Shots are part of that. Getting penalties across the course of the year is a part of that. And then the same on the other side. Like, can you downgrade the chances? So if you are taking 15, 20 shots, can they be lower quality shots? That's all part of going into it as well. How effective you can be off of set pieces. How many times you're in the box under control, like the same with the opponent. So there's just because we know the data doesn't mean we can easily use it. We have to remember the other teams are trying to beat us too, and they're not just playing into what we want to do. They are going through their model and their ideas of doing things. And there's some really good players in the league as well. You guys have seen like really good players.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can be
frighteningly so.
And they like to play them against us as well.
They do.
It's a cool thing, but not a cool thing. But like if you're going to put some guy who's about to go to the Premier League on against us, we must be doing something right.
Yeah. Also, he's like 16, which is disgusting.
Yeah.
He's so good. I have a question not related to this, but is something that made me think of.
Do you have any more, or is this the?
No, that was the final slide. Yeah, I think there was questions, so that can be.
I definitely do have questions. I want to come back to it's just something you said, like they don't always play how we want to play. It felt like this season we were often a team of two halves. A great half and a terrible half, a good half and a bad half. Quantify them how you want. And we had a ton, and this was like one of the encouraging parts of bad half followed by a good half, like bad first half, very good second half or whatever. So I guess it's a two-parter, and you can interpret this how you want. Like, how did you make so many changes, or what kind of changes did you make? How did you make such an impact at halftime, you as a coaching staff? And then, I guess, how do you make it so in the future, of course, you don't have, I guess, such big swings, but I'm not using that as only a negative because I think you guys made some amazing changes, at least in my mind, clearly, because it's not easy to be bad in the first half and great in the second half, or be just okay in the first half and then like impose your will in the second half or whatever else. So how do you, how do you think about that, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather just have two really good halves the whole time. It's a lot less stressful. But there's times when we've played really well and then not won. So there's no easy way about it. If football was easy, maybe more people would be doing it, and it would be different. So we always go in with a plan of what we would like to do, what we think they're going to do. You can try and prepare for it, but until you have that player running at you, doing things or making adjustments, it's tough to know. Sometimes the guys figure it out and adjust it by themselves. Sometimes they've got to wait till half time so that they can talk or we can talk. Sometimes it's just an adjustment of shape, that if someone's in a different position or there's a different relationship, that can help with it as well. So I've got a really good staff. We've got a lot of information going in. Guys are looking at a lot of different things. We have kind of set structure plans sometimes for this, and sometimes you lose players, right? This is who we thought that was going to play centre forward and centre midfield at the start of the year didn't end up doing that, and you make adjustments and change, and then because of that, the relationships change, the qualities of the players change. So I think it's looking at, we have the principles of how we would like to do if a team is building with a back three or if they've got a four, and then some of it is about your ability to close the distance down or do the role. So I mean, it's huge credit to the guys that they continue to be resilient and adaptive as well with it. When there was times we could have just given up, and even against Red Bull when we were down 3-0 at half time, came up flying, and then we got a little bit unlucky with the injury. The red card was I mean, we had to go for it, and that was part of it. Without those factors, we could have kept going as well, and it would have been easy at 3-0 down at half time away at top of the table to do it. Huntsville, we were quite poor in the first away game, and then the guys,
second half we imposed our will.
Yeah, so it's sometimes that's just football. Unfortunately, they're trying to do one thing, we're trying to do another, and then it's like just keep changing. Like, what can you adjust and what can you adapt from it?
How much change can you do at halftime? Like, how much input can you give guys?
Not like, you get a few minutes. The guys come in, they are physically tired, emotionally tired as well. It's mentally draining as well, being on the field, like with balls flying around and being kicked and this. So you've got to give them some time to recoup and recover. They want to give ideas to each other. We need to prepare video, so we try and do maybe 3 clips of what we think they're going to have the biggest impact on it.
So these are live clips from the first half?
Yeah, live clips. So Liam and Adam and Chris and Sebastian are there. They'll do some of the tagging. So as we're going in, we'll chat as a staff what we think we need to change, whether it's personnel, right? Someone maybe is just having a bad game, or if you've got the luxury of replacing a player having a bad game and not waiting for them to change, then we would do it. It's just how football is. The guys would want that themselves. If they're the sub and they feel they can impact it, they'd want to go in early. So we go through some of the clips of what we feel make the biggest difference, or where we're struggling. If it's maybe a team is building out really easy in a certain area because of something's not happening, can we address that? And that's a good time now for the guys to ask questions or to look at each other and be like, yeah, we can do this here. So that's a fact. And then you never know what they're going to do at half time. They may come out completely different and catch us off. I think that was one of our positives. We were quite flexible with how we played, and some of the formations we used. Be willing to change, and the guys kind of embrace that as well. They were sometimes too much. They were always like, what do we do different? What do we do different? And sometimes we've got to wait for it to work. So it was, there's not really just one factor. It's a collective of what the guys do, of how we train, of the information the staff gives, and then just like that's who the guys are. Like, all right, we're going to fight. We're going to go for this. Even in the playoff game, like at the 89th minute, they're still going for it. The 90th minute, still going for it. So that's huge credit for them and for who they are.
No, that makes sense. So for questions for XG, I have what we saw was mostly like defensive stuff, which, I mean, a lot of it makes a ton of sense. Do you have any thoughts on why the offensive your model may show a lot more positive towards us versus a public model? Do you think it's variance?
Yeah, I think there's variance in that. I think it depends on what I value as well. If with those moments, they may not take those into account for the shot, and they feel that was about so if they just use an X and Y, they may feel there's a bad shot based on other factors where maybe they think the distance is wrong or the angle is wrong, and then I feel that there's I feel some of the set pieces, the one-touch stuff is going to be a higher model because of the difficulty of the saves based on the data that I've collected. So it depends on the shots. It can go either way as well sometimes. So I think location, all those factors come into it, and they maybe upgrade the shot in my model, whereas another one it doesn't.
Do you feel like we underachieved or overachieved offensively this year? Because your model would suggest we underachieved, just on pure number-wise.
Yeah, I would say slightly. I think there was definitely times in that slump where we could have, and in a big enough sample size, we would have won. There was times where you come out of there and you're like, I can't believe we haven't scored something there, and guys have just mishit it. And even if it's a 60% chance, 40 times out of 100, it's not going to go in. And that one of those 40 may come in when you need it. And that's also just the fun of football as well. I think you guys talk about getting football sometimes, and it works both ways. So yeah, there's those factors, and just we had to make a lot of changes with the forwards at times, with injuries and guys not being available. So those are factors. We were able to be a bit more consistent in some other areas. So, and scoring goals is really hard as well. It's not as easy as some people think. So
Definitely.
As we're going to find out this week when you're on the end of those crosses.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He may be 6'5", but he does not know how to use
Honestly, this is the potential for some incredible content.
Oh, no. I have no desire to tear my ACL
or your Achilles or both.
or my Achilles. Or
Whatever number you get, I will transfer that into that model now. So,
Right.
Please tell me you'll have the CFC model, the Opta model, and then the gym
Next to each
model.
other, yeah.
Just like
Chattanooga FC. Yeah.
Do you guys have additional questions?
I think there's you talked a little about when you're recruiting and like looking for players and looking for, I think stylistic fit wasn't the word you use, but that's what you kind of mean. What kind of how about this? So let's kind of broaden things out here. Sure. We looked for certain types of players for the 2025 season. We signed at least some of those players or lots of those players. What kind of things are you looking at changing in the overall player profiles, and then maybe in the more nitty gritty about certain positional profiles for this coming season, and maybe looking with one eye towards future years?
Yeah, I mean, I think recruiting's easy until it comes down to the competition, budgets, other factors as well. Some teams can offer a first team contract at the end of it, and guys will want to hold on for that. So if we could get all the players that we went for that were realistic for this level and got them, you guys would be very happy. But there's guys that we offer and they've got something going on. So that makes recruiting a little bit harder. I think for us, more players that fit the style of the league, that can, when you look at what teams are good at and what they're not so good at, can we exploit? And there's times we could have exploited, but we just maybe didn't have that profile of player. Like we said, there's injuries, players not being available for whatever reason. So I think guys that allow us to press a little bit higher or be more effective in certain places. I don't want to defend on the edge of the box unless I have to. I want us to be, I want us to be good
That's what
at
you're gonna
it
hear.
when we need to, but I don't want it to be the core identity of it. And sometimes it's, well, let's be good at what we are rather than bad at what we want to be. And so it's finding players that, like I said, we have a game model, we have a positional profiles, and we feel that if they fit those, that's going to give us a good chance of being successful in those areas. Obviously, recruiting so we can get more goals spread throughout the field as well is a big factor.
You don't want your right back to be the leading scorer?
It depends how many. If he gets 30 goals, yeah, I'm fine with him being it. But yeah, it would be
Fair point.
Yeah,
But
we'll
I
be
mean,
if he gets 30 goals, we'll be fine with the right back.
Yeah, I mean, he had a fantastic season in contributions. If we can balance it out, and I think that's the other thing is
Unbelievable.
It's difficult for us to go out and get a 30 goal centre forward just based on the league, the level of what it is. So how can we get 30 goals spread out through players and in different areas? So I think players that every time you want to level a player up, and that's not disrespectful to any of the guys. All the guys that were here 15 years ago have set a platform to get us up and up and up and go from there. And that's hopefully what we did last year, did the year before, and then next year it will be another level of players. So I think, guys, that we are very different from the league, and I think we have to continue to embrace that. But I think having some guys that fit the league style will also help us in other areas too.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I have a question. So, how many? 1 year later, I need to check in on your beans on toast. How many times per week are you eating beans on toast? Last podcast, you were worried your mother was going to be upset with you because you said it was 3 to 4 times per week. Have you upgraded or downgraded?
After all this data talk, she's going to turn up. She won't be listening this far.
So we get the real answer now.
It's a lot, actually, because I have it for breakfast. So I'll take breakfast in the office with me, beans on toast, with some egg as well. I actually showed it to Rich, and nutritional-wise, it was a good meal, Rich said.
He approved?
Yeah, get Rich on, and he
High
agreed
in
with it.
protein.
It's high protein.
Yeah, there was some carbs in there. It's passed the taste test. It's easy to make and take in a little Tupperware. So it's
not just 3 to 4 times a week.
So
You've upgraded.
3 to 4 was 3 to 4 low? Was that what?
No, he was saying that was too high, and he was worried. This was last year, and he
it's
said
not got any low, unfortunately.
he was worried his mother might be upset with him for eating beans on toast.
Too much. I wasn't sure if his mom was upset because he wasn't eating enough.
No, she seems like a woman of culture. She's not interested.
Of England's national dish, or
It's I'll stand by it. Again,
He did a defense of beans on toast last time. That was
you guys have got to try it. It's good in a lot of areas.
He actually proposed a cooking show that we have, and we haven't done it yet, but we really should.
I throw it all into Tupperware and call it a breakfast scramble now, which is the kind of the cool thing to do. So
That is smart.
There's just a bit of everything in there.
Also, I have another quote from last year. You said, as a coach, you often don't control how you win, but you can often control how you lose. Something to that effect. Mm-hmm. Year on of later, like, would you edit that at all, or do you feel that even stronger? Like, how do you feel about that? Because I was struck by that quote re-listening to the podcast.
I mean, that was quite accurate, right? We won games.
Felt very accurate.
I mean, there's not a lot of teams that I think there's only 2 teams that lost fewer games than us over the two divisions, which would have been a good thing for us to start. When that whistle, you have all these wonderful ideas during the week, Monday to Friday, but when that whistle blows, everyone's trying to win on both sides of the field. So I would have liked to have scored different goals and more goals, and I think like we all would have, but we also want to win. And when you chat to the guys at the end of the season, to win that final game, no one really cares who scores or how that goes in, whether it goes in with your foot, your knee, your backside, whether it's lucky or not. That's a factor with it too. So yeah, I think still go with that.
Yeah, I feel like that might be an emblematic of something that we did really well, which is, and something that you said, like, you don't want to defend deep. I'm paraphrasing what you just said, but you don't want to defend deep. But if that's something we're really good at, we'd like to win doing what we're good at rather than lose trying to do a bad version of what we're not good at, essentially.
Yeah, and I think it's playing to your strengths and trying to play to the opponent's weaknesses at times. So there's not always a ton of weaknesses in professional soccer, so trying to be creative with that and where you can invest your time, and it's trying to get success from those moments as well. And I think embracing different moments, like being really good defensively isn't a bad thing. Like that's very good. That's what top level defenders are. Like making good saves isn't a bad thing. Like that's what top goalkeepers do. So we can't always just embrace even though I was a forward, embrace just the attacking side. Like all areas of the game are important. The set pieces, the transitions, the defending in and around the box, defending high. And if you can impose more things that you're good at, you're going to have a chance of impacting the game.
Matt said something last podcast that he basically pointed out, he didn't put a judgment on this. We had the lowest percentage of possession in the league, which we all know possession matters what you do with it, not that you have it. But what was it, 43%?
I think it was 41 on the... FotMob also pulls from Opta, so I think it was 41 in Opta's number.
Yeah.
In your ideal world, obviously we care about winning more than anything, but like, what is a successful, especially when the meta is changing in the teams don't want the ball in England right now in large part. Like many teams are except for Jim's Arsenal. A lot of teams don't want the ball.
We're scoring on set pieces, so.
Yeah, but you guys are still having a lot of the ball. You're just not doing anything with it except on set pieces.
Teams are scared.
But how do you think about possession, I guess, is the question there.
I mean, it's hard to be scored on when you have the ball. But I think Mourinho talks about the team that has the ball longer makes more mistakes. So there's like it goes both ways, right? I would like us to have the ball more because it would allow us to attack more, and I'm sure most teams would like to. But I don't. There's not a set number of like, hey, if you hit this amount of possession, you're going to win. So it's again the moments of the game and dealing with what the game gives you on that day of how you adjust to it. So yeah, hopefully next year we do have more of the ball. We have players that help us progress and keep it, and we attack a little bit different. But if it's, hey, I think if we do this, we might score a goal. Let's do that, right? If Eldon needs to shoot from a goal kick because the goalkeeper's out of position or the centre forward's run in, then why would we not do that?
Please.
If he needs to run through the centre, if he needs to run through the centre of the field and score because no one's on him, go and do that. It's about like you've got to
whatever leads to goals.
Way.
Did you see Milinkovic-Savic's penalty? It was 130 kilometers an hour.
No, I did not see that.
He's the goalkeeper for Napoli. He's like 6'9" in Serbia.
Nobody watches Serie A.
And I do.
I did not see the penalty. No.
He took a penalty that was like 130 kilometers. It's insane. And it was just also one of those reminders
miles
that
per hour in the United States.
Listen, if I knew what that was in freedom units, I would have said it. But the idea that like a goalkeeper would take a penalty and just, I mean, he went full goalkeeper smash. It was awesome.
About 81 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's
so crazy.
So back to Breezy's question a little bit. I wonder, because I like to talk about control more than possession. Like, but I mean, you can control a game without the ball. And I wonder, it not only felt like our possession numbers were low, but that like the average, if you had a heat map for the average position of the ball, it felt like it was way too high. I mean, it was too much on our side of the pitch. And
I mean, ideally, I think, and obviously as well, you'd rather have the ball further away from goal as much as possible.
Right.
But again, it goes back to what we are good at in that moment or what's going to achieve a success. So I would like to defend further up the field, but if we fail and it goes through, we're open.
So does that? Are you happy with? And I don't want to. I'm not talking about any individual player. Are you happy with? Because I felt like we didn't really start defending until in the midfield. Like, I don't know if you
like the line of confrontation. No, we would adjust it sometimes based on where we thought we were going to
I would like our forwards to be the first defender.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, you guys could disagree, and you know the team better than I, but it just felt like that they were not defending they did not do a whole lot of defending.
I wouldn't say that. I think it's just different what you view as defending, right? The ability of the player to do a certain thing is going to be higher or lower. So sometimes that dictating of their positioning leads to the ball going certain areas where we can look to trap it or look to try and win it back. Sometimes the defenders will be further away from the forward, so they want to bring that forward out. So we saw it with Huntsville, right? They sat on the ball and they were trying to get us to jump.
Yeah, sure.
So if you want them to go sprinting at it, we're going to get jumped. If we sit and stay, and it looks like they're doing nothing, and that can be the tough part sometimes. Like, don't do anything because they're waiting for you to do something and go from there. Right. So,
and we were on the other side of that. We were on the other side of that coin just a few years ago. Mm-hmm. Like, we were trying to tease out the Flower Cities, the Michigan Stars, to come out and pressure our center backs who were good on the ball.
Yeah, and we would
they could play through and
we
open
would lose
space.
balance. We would lose balance and get played through. I mean, I know there's you can't just throw everything forward because like you said, they'll play through you and score. But
what do you think happened with Huntsville this year? Did you think they were one of the best teams? For Matthew and I, they were the best team in the East. I think Jim mostly agreed. So then for the three of us, they were the best team in the East. Yeah. Leave us out of the conversation. They were the best team in the East. Eye test and public model that may be bullshit test. Like, do you...
I'm sure there's some value there. But yeah, I think they're a very good team. They had a lot of very good players. I think if you look at how many players that are ready for a level higher, there was a lot on that team. They had a good style of play. They were very difficult to play against. They were very successful in a lot of moments of the game. So it's weird because of... Like Red Bull, when we played them, allowed us to have the ball and then just score. So they were incredibly effective at what they did. Mm-hmm. Philly were overall very good. The way they pressed, the way what they wanted to do, they were very consistent with it. In terms of overall football, I think Huntsville were much better to watch in terms of enjoy. But it depends what you value. Like Red Bull is really fun to watch when they're not playing against you and it's bang and score. Philly, the way they relentlessly press and the way they attack and the way they switch the field, those are big factors as well. So it's hard to say it's just opinions, right? With soccer, who do you think the best team is? I think Philly were very good and very difficult. We probably should have beaten them
The first time,
twice.
for sure.
The first time we had the goal disallowed. The second time we're up and
That
some
was tough.
fatigue and some injuries,
And
and
a
it
slip.
falls to a player you don't want it to fall to. Red Bull, we probably could have scored twice before they got the first goal.
We,
Yes,
were, we were so good
so
those
good.
first 10 minutes.
Yeah, we had 2 opportunities to score. So that's also football-like time. And if you do go 2-0 up, doesn't mean they might go wild and then score 7 on us anyway. But I think Huntsville's difficult because we play them so much as well.
We played them 4 times.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah,
I
Which is
think
we saw in Nice, played teams 4 times. It's
so
tough. Yeah.
Well, and they have we were their boogeyman. Taking 9 points off of them. We talked about it before. Obviously we wanted to win, but it's really hard to beat a team 4 times. Mm-hmm. It's hard to beat them 3 times.
Yeah.
Much less 4 times.
Yeah.
And a team that was, by my eye test, very, very good.
Yeah.
They were either snake bit or their forwards weren't any good from my perspective. It was one of the two because they couldn't generate the final ball in net.
I think they were snake bit, but that's because the game's played on spreadsheets. I want to go back.
Also, remember when we played Huntsville, we had a goal disallowed, which did you guys feel should have been disallowed?
Oh, the one that the playoff game?
Yeah.
No, it shouldn't have been disallowed.
So moments of the games, it's tough, and I'm not saying
That
that
was really
we score that and they don't do anything
I still
different.
don't know what.
It's been 6 weeks and
I
I've
guess it was
already
a hand-
forgotten
Yeah.
about it.
Did they told you it was a? Did they tell you
They told us it was a handball.
Yeah,
but then the information wasn't there.
I'm looking at it on YouTube, which is a camera that's, I don't know.
Single camera.
Yeah, it's a single camera, so it's way far away. But I can't see. I don't even know what I'm not even sure. There is. You can see a hand kind of go up, but I don't know what he was saying. I have no idea what the ref said.
I hope that it was a handball because I don't like the injustice of feeling like.
Yeah, for sure. I'd like it. I mean, that's just football. You get some luck and you don't get some luck. And while at times we feel we were lucky, we're also unlucky when goals that were onside were disallowed. Or
Yep.
that's just part of football.
Or ref sees a phantom foul.
Yeah, we've had
on a
goals
header
that
that
were
would have put us up 2-1 in a different game.
with VAR. It might be very different, and then everyone hates VAR. But we may have won games we
I
lost.
psychotically hate VAR.
He does. I love VAR. Have you seen what they're doing in the Italian third division?
I have not.
Who the hell? Why would you even add? Did you
Okay, I have not seen the good.
This is gonna come to MLS Next Pro. I'm just
Breezy,
telling
Breezy,
you.
stop. I want you to ask that question again slowly and listen to yourself. Did you see what they're doing
I need another beer.
in the
Did
Italian
you see
third division?
The U20 World Cup? It's the same basic thing. It's a challenge card, so you get challenges. There's a single monitor at the side. There's no VAR, but if something happens, you can send the referee to the side for a replay, and you get 2
Yeah.
challenges.
I don't like those challenge. I don't like the challenge.
Well, but in a league where you don't have the personnel reasonably to have extra referees or to have, I do think it's an interesting way of doing VAR, because at least there's some review. Yeah. And if you feel really hard done by, and there may be evidence to support it, I don't know. I don't know that it's the right thing, but I think if VAR comes to our league, it'll be something like that.
And then we can have 3-minute hydration breaks and commercials and
I
He hates-
agree.
he hates VAR.
and four
It does take
downs
too
to
long.
advance the ball 10 yards.
He's also just such.
Just get the game on. Just get the game going.
He thinks the VAR gets it wrong, so why worry about
Yeah,
it?
that's true. I mean,
It does
it's still a
sometimes,
human
but-
decision. So it's we could have said that VAR maybe helps us win 3 more games, but it may have cost us 3 other games as well. So
Yeah.
that's just football. That's the part of it, right?
Yeah,
Mistakes are a part of the game.
And also, we played Huntsville pretty well in that playoff game, and
and we couldn't whine and moan about losing a game we shouldn't have lost if we had VAR.
maybe,
So,
maybe. But you couldn't see. The other thing
what
was
about the content?
even if we had VAR, we wouldn't have been able to see if it was a handball or not because we've all looked at it and can't see.
I can't see.
You can't see. And the ref was in a reasonable position to see that. So my hope is that
I don't
he
think
could
it
see,
was,
but I don't know.
Okay, so I want to break the season down into thirds, and give you a chance to kind of talk about how you felt things were going during these different portions of the season. They're going to be very distinct. You already know what I'm about to say. We had very clear thirds of this particular season.
Just on purpose
And-
for this podcast, I know you're going to break it down that way. So let's go hard stops in between for you guys.
Yeah, I mean the narrative's
If I
right
had
itself.
known you were going to harass me last week, I would have made it a little bit harder. So next year, that's noted.
I'll well, fine. So first third of the season, I'm going to include preseason in that because we had a great preseason in terms of the results
And vibes.
and the vibes are high. We're beating Atlanta United. We're beating Birmingham on their own grass.
Well, those of us that saw the game. Us, not anybody else.
We go into the regular season and we don't lose a game until Columbus Crew at the end of April.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to go I really want to go a couple games further and go all the way to the end of May. We'll divide up where we beat New England to then going on the road at Orlando and losing. So
that was the last minute, right? Then we can see the last minute of the game. Yeah.
Yes, and that started the run of not winning for 17 years. So in that first part of the season,
I felt that. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I felt about maybe longer than that.
January through May.
I watched your press conferences and I felt so bad for you.
Yeah.
I could see every time you were like getting like sadder and sadder, and not in your words. Like you were still saying like the right things, but I could just see your face, just like.
Yeah,
we'll get there.
And then the first game you win after, we all were there. The first game you win after, it was like big change. You could see the weight.
Yeah.
So I mean, it also like for real though, it's the human side of it, and
it's perks of the job, right? You gotta get both sides of it. Yeah.
But I think it was also beautiful because like I think for all of us, like we forget that like everybody's human, and like I'm sure that was a terrible period for you, whatever else, and like it was really cool to see. I don't know, for me, like the human side of like happy Chris, maybe not sad Chris, like on the outside, but like like maybe weight of, because like we feel it too, and like
I mean, it matters. I mean, all the guys are hurt and down. The locker room's a tough place when you lose, and then Monday's a tough place. Like I think that gets forgotten that everybody is trying to win. Everybody wants to win. And sometimes you lose when you deserve it, and that's tough. And then you lose when you don't deserve it, and that's tough as well. And then if you get 3 or 4 games where you're not winning, that hurts as well, because you're going through the week.
I can say one thing that, and this I think it's a tribute to you and the leadership in the team. At no point in the season was there ever a doubt that or worry that the team was quitting. I mean, you've seen seen coaches lose the dressing room before. And even we go 6, 7, 8 games deep into I don't think anybody ever thought that was the issue. That the issue was that the guys have given up on you, or that they've given up on each other.
Yeah. No, the locker room was great. They were so connected together as well. I think you have to look at the process sometimes as well. And what is nice to win when you don't deserve to win. You need to try to deserve to win to give you that chance. I felt we were playing quite well at times in that slump, and
several times we deserved to win.
I
think the Chicago game's a great example.
Yeah,
of that.
we were great in that. Even Crown, the second half was really. I think we lose 3-1. They we concede again right at the very end. Like we were very good, and even the Orlando game, conceding so late on, we didn't quite deserve to lose. And I think Columbus, we could have scored just before and just after they scored.
Columbus, we were quite a bit better than them, and we lost 3-0.
So it's tough when all those go together. But you talk about the process, about training. The guys were training hard, and they all agreed they were training hard. The quality of the training was excellent from them, and it's tough. One, you're playing against teams who are trying to win. It's the travel, the summer. There's all these factors that make it slightly harder. But if you're doing the right things, that's going to give you the chance to get out of the slump. That's why I think when I was asked during it, because last year we had a bad summer as well.
Yep.
And it was like, well, how do you know you're going to get out of it? And it was just basically numbers. Like we have to start winning based on, like, we should be winning these games. That will swing back. Whether we deserve to win or don't deserve to win, we'll get that path back again. And just hopefully it's close enough to keep the swing of where we're going. And I mean, even if you look where we finished, we weren't a million miles away from the top, with a little bit more luck in that off period, and that's football, right? We talk about VAR and things like that. So I think the guys recognized there was a lot of good things going on. They also understood, like, we're big on that. Like, you guys are together. Like, this is going to suck if you lose and hate each other for 10 months. Like, you are human beings. Like, you're people. We've got to find ways of getting through this. And I think that's credit to the staff, credit to the locker room, the leadership, of addressing problems and finding solutions for it, whether they were pretty or not. Yeah.
I mean, did you ever doubt that it was going to come out? Like, did it creep in? Because I'm sure it was a heavy period.
Probably as soon as the ref blew the whistle, I was like, oh, it's never going. But no, like I said, I tried to, again, still growing as a coach and as a human and in this of trying to create the identity of what I like. And I think trying to be true to, I believe that these factors will help us win. And I know that it's not going to be all the time. Even when we go back to Nice playoff, when we lost to Flower City, and the game could have been, it was like downhill. We could have won that game probably 98 times out of 100, and we got hit with that smaller window. It was a bit lower than that, but that unfortunately is football, and it was it happens all over the world, right? You look at teams who deserve to win, they don't, and then they get into a bad run of form, or you're in a bad run of form. You're playing the best team in the league, and it's that's happened all throughout my life as a coach. You're going to have these bad windows of it, whether it's down to you, them, everything, randomness, luck. Like there's part of it. So like tomorrow's, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to have to deal with football, and it's right. Let's try and stay on the path we're at.
I think we're just going to pivot off of the thirds thing because we're going at an interesting path right now in terms of the summer slump. There's a listener question from Justin Vizarro. He says, I'm curious to know if you have identified any patterns associated with our 2 summer slumps back to back in this league. And if so, what kind of potential solutions do you see out there?
I mean, you'd like to just say, oh, it's just this and it's just that. There's just so many factors into it. If you look at the summer slump, there were so many games there that could have gone another way and we wouldn't have felt that way about it with just small changes. I think teams continue to improve throughout the year. You think of the makeup of their teams, we're fortunate that we have a lot of the team set early, whereas they are maybe bouncing between the 2 teams.
We talk about the age curve of this podcast a lot.
Yeah, there's the age curve like that. There's guys that are learn how to be pros as well. And we also have that same on the reverse when we've got heavy college guys. They're coming out of how do you get past that 3-month college system where you are playing day off to now training 5 days, and it's a little bit of a change. Like those factors matter as well. The heat, right, is also a factor too. It's not easy playing in the heat. I know other teams do it as well, but it's such fine margins in professional sports. Like as you see, like a cleaner touch there, a different lace it hits. So that there's all those little factors to it. I wish it was as easy as saying, don't do this and it won't happen. And it's not. So yeah, I think multiple factors. That I think the curve of other teams. I think the summer, the congestion of games can be tough sometimes. And then there's luck with football. Like I said, Columbus, we played quite well and we could have extended that streak. Chicago, I felt we were good. There was the Crown game. We could have come back and won. And
that was a class. I think the Crown game was a classic of because we were pushing so far or so hard. I think I leaned over and told somebody, it was like, this is finishing 2-2 or it's going to be 3-1.
Yeah. And we were okay with that. Like 2-2 gave us a chance for 1 point and potentially 2. 3. It didn't matter if we lose 2-1 or 3-1.
Yeah.
If with Philly, right, we were so close to getting that. There's so many moments in that. Even if you just go off of those 4, that make it feel a little bit different and potentially change the next week of it. And it's tough. It's like that Sunday is difficult. The Monday's difficult. And then the guys are pros. They get back on with it and use it to drive them. So this year was going to be tough because the World Cup break's going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
So the World break's not going to happen for us, but it's going to happen for the Major League teams. So what do those guys do?
Yeah, that's a great question.
So yeah, that's a great question.
But like,
Sweet, new
you've
nightmares
also,
for me.
But also, like you've seen, like when we joined this league, we learned a little bit about the rules. We learned a little bit about how drop downs work and how, you really sometimes one of the quirks of this league is you do not know who's going to play sometimes week to week, or an external factor ends up being the most important thing to determine an opposing team's lineup. Rather than an injury or whatever else, just something else.
Scheduling as well. There's some teams, if you play the day after their first team, you're going to get first teams. If you play the day before, you might not get it. If they're on the road, there's lots of factors. There's other teams that feel that playing against us is good value for certain players. And they play them. And
yeah,
you mean for developmental purposes?
Yeah, the quality of the game that they maybe get against us. We saw it with Philly, right? Their lineup was different with certain players because of. It might have just been randomly that went against us, or it could have been, hang on, this is good for him to make us better in the future. So there's all those factors with it as well. But we knew that coming to the league that we were competing with teams that had a huge up ahead of them and a huge underneath with the academy, and we were going to have to find ways of doing that. But we are different. Like that's what Chattanooga is about, right? That's why we all love it, is because we're not those big cities doing things this way. This is our way, and we can compete and get on a stage like that.
I remember seeing, this is just like one example, but I remember 2024 season. I think we were playing Orlando at home, and I think I remember seeing the lineup come out, and I saw, okay, that's interesting. Like bunch of guys, from the MLS group that are with them today.
It was two guys from the night before who had one had made the bench and one had made like a 7-minute appearance the night before at the first team game down in Orlando.
Well, by the way, one of them was Alex Freeman, who's now a U.S. national team regular. Mm-hmm. But that's not the point. Like there are some more of those like fringe guys who I'm expecting that we'll see a little bit more during that World Cup break. But sometimes those guys are god awful because they're just like, I'm just here playing a game. Like it's not like they don't get up for it, and
they're going to listen to this, and now they're going to be ready to go. So you're going to be playing 1v1 with them. You'll be doing the crosses, and you'll be doing the 1v1 now, and we'll see how god awful they are.
But it's. I've always thought that like that kind of thing was a little bit overblown. Like Yamil Assad for Cincinnati did a 45-minute appearance when he first signed for them. This is a couple years ago now. And like, this is a former, was he Max Tam at Atlanta United? Whatever he was, he played the first 45 minutes for Cincinnati 2 in a game. And he mostly didn't do anything. Like he was just out there getting some minutes and not trying to die.
Yeah. I mean, that can be the case. I mean, it's the guys, all players are going to get out what they put into it and what they value, right? And if there's a player that feels they're above playing on a certain team, that's probably going to creep into other areas of their professionalism in life and not going to work out. I think there's such a high level of professionalism all the way through those academies and in the 2 and the 1 teams that it's not a common thing. We never look at the game and think, oh, yeah, it's the first team we're playing. I mean, we saw that in Kennesaw, right? The first time. They tell me that was an easy game. So
that was a full on.
You hear some criticism. Like, people talk about this as a criticism of the league. Like the teams are consistent. You don't know who's going to play. You have all these 2 teams and reserve teams. Do you see that as or is it just this is what we've got? It is what it is, or?
But it is what it is, right? It's all the teams are I mean, even the first team, right? They are going to use it and play how they want to play. So what they do with their 2 team, how they use it. Some teams use it as another way of doing fitness for first teamers. Others use it for, we're going to develop this guy. Others use it like how Crown use it. It's very different to how maybe Columbus use it and Orlando. And it's how they want to do things to be what they feel is successful. And some of it comes down to successful with the team with a 2 on it, or success to, can I get this player in the first team, or the other players. We're seeing that now more guys are getting traded and transferred out of Next Pro to teams across the country. So
do you think that affects the sporting fairness of the league at all?
I would say yes, because you could potentially, if the guy's on the first team the night before and you're dropping him down, but if that was a 2 player who you've moved up to the first team because he deserves it, and now he's back with his team, I don't think that's unfair. So it goes both ways. It may be you can be either side of that kind of bubble, right, with it. So yeah, there may be times. I don't think guys are sitting there saying we got to beat this team. Let's go and drop these players down. Mm-hmm. It's some of it is all about that one team. Some of it's about that collective. It just varies on where they see the value in it and what their direction is.
Can you elaborate a little bit on what you said about the player transfers out of Next Pro going across the, like what do you mean?
Noah Cobb, right? He's just been signed by Rapids.
Yeah.
Vasquez at Philly Union was San Diego, I think. Carlton going to Sweden was one. I think Ethan O'Brien has gone to the Premier League in Ireland.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look 2 years ago, there wasn't a ton of transfers out of it. So now that's happening. More guys are seeing value in it. The league is getting scouted a lot. And I think there's value in seeing, same with us, right? Maybe there's an academy guy somewhere that doesn't quite fit their plans, or a 2 guy that doesn't fit their plans, because we've had guys that, this guy's 21, he's too old for us. All right, okay.
He's not too old for us.
Yeah. So it all depends on like your own model. And again, this is my opinion on football, and your opinion, and they're all different. So you make a decision what you think is right. And it's not as easy as what is just black or white. Like we couldn't even agree on the percentage for a shot. So it's going to be the same with players. You guys will sit there and be like, why is he not playing this guy? Or why is he playing this guy? Because of what you think you guys know about football. I play this because of what I think I know about football. And that's just how it works, right? We sit there and we screen at the TV. Why are they playing him? Why are they playing them? opinion. So
It's
if
the
you
beautiful.
can-
It's the beauty of sport,
yeah,
right?
if you can find someone who is undervalued or you think is going to help you, then you go and do it. So
What we think we know about
That was incredible.
yeah, hey, it's the same thing with me. What you guys think and what I think we know as well.
No, it was perfect.
Can I want to
I
ask?
remember what you guys did to me on the podcast last time. So.
I did, that was him. That was him. Why? Why? Don't come out. That was him.
I can't wait to see what next week. I'm going to listen to that one to see whether you adapt this or whether you're like we're right about that guy. We'll see.
So you just finished your first year as a professional head coach.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the things that you think you got right, and what are some things that you've learned now having done this for a full year?
And then the list of things that we're right about.
I mean, you guys pay your money. You're entitled to scream and shout. That's just part of it. So yeah, I would say you're right. You are within your right. There's no. I mean, if you guys are screaming at me that the field is blue, then I'm going to argue back at that. But if you think another player should play or should do this, then that's the beauty of it. And there's some of the things I don't know if I should probably say in public. I think there's always room for improvement. I think coming in like the start of last year, what we wanted to do as a club was a big change because we were still fresh coming out of another league. We were still kind of finding our feet in here and identifying that. So I think we did make a big difference. Even if you look at where we finished in the league and being Southern Conference champions and a home playoff game, those were all got like goals up that we had from the start. And we would have, I think we lose 6 games.
Yeah.
If we'd have said this time last year, will you take this or the positions or those factors? I'm pleased with, I think, the buy-in of the guys, of how connected they were. The locker room was very much together, and that helped, and it could lead itself at times. I think having more identity of me as a coach, like what I would like my team to play as, is the next step, but that takes time, and so I think that would be for me. I'd like to sit here and yeah, our expected goals, we scored 7 a game, and we had all the ball, and no one could do anything, and we could suffocate them the whole time. But it's also like you want to win as well. So I'd rather you guys complain about how we won than complain about that we're losing and not. So I think that balance.
Us too.
I think I think I was pleased with how we as a collective like got out of the slump and the guys kept going. That's huge. So I think that we wanted the guys to be together when times got tough. We want them to be flexible. And I think from the start of the year, flexible, adaptable, resilient, and the guys showed that all the way through.
Would those be your three? Would those be like your 3 big characteristics if you're playing Football Manager? Flexible,
I haven't played it for a
adaptable.
long time. I mean, I think those are important. Yeah, I think that's it, because if things are going to go wrong, sometimes they're going to go wrong and they're going to cost you a goal. Other times it might go wrong, you just give a throw-in away. And you might make a mistake at 5-0 up with the 90th minute, or you might make it a 1-0 up in the 90th minute. So I think things will go wrong, embracing that, and nothing is final until the final whistle, I guess. But I think that is a big one. Adaptable, because of it's not just perfect soccer. There's so many variable changes because of the other team, the referees, the field, the bounce, like all that stuff comes in. So you have to adapt to find that principle or core identity of what you want. So I think I think that's it. And then flexible is, I know we've spoke about this all week, but they've just put 7 first teamers in, and we're going to have a tough time getting the ball off them. So this is what we got to do. I think there's been times in the past where you've seen coaches like, I'm only going to play this way, I'm only going to do this, and it hurts the team, it hurts them, it hurts the club. Like this club has got such a big history for an American club as well, right? I know when you look at European clubs, it's different, but for an American club, this is a huge history. That I'm fortunate enough to be in this position. You guys became fans and created a podcast because of the work that was done 5, 10, 15 years ago. And I hopefully will be part of something that happens in 10, 15, 20, 30 years and goes on with it as well. So I want to make sure that the club is still going forward, even if it's not as big a jumps as we all would hope. So I think we have done that. The players that we now potentially have access to, the opportunities nationally, like guys being in the All-Star team, that's huge. I'm so pleased and proud that the guys that I think we could have had 2 more guys in that All-11 team, that they're getting that recognition. I would love if our guys got Players of the Month or players or team of the week a little bit more. I felt that was unfair sometimes.
The fact that Tate didn't win Defender of the Year is one of the most insane things I've ever seen.
Yeah, so it's like those types of things are tough, but at least now we're in that conversation. Like the club is growing, the city is growing because of the involvement of all of us. So I think I want to enjoy being part as stressful as it can be, especially through the summer sometimes. And like that's still part of it, and it's cool to be part of it. Yeah, people maybe are harassing me on podcasts or on social media, and it goes both ways. I've been told this year I'm the greatest coach in the world. I'm a tactical genius. I've been told I need to go back to being an assistant. I've been told I have no idea. Like
You've been told you've been cooking the books.
Yeah, told I've been cooking the books as well. Like all these things. So
that's the quote I'll sign up for. The other ones wasn't me.
Yeah.
But.
So no, but it's. Name the first two, were you? Okay. Right.
No, they weren't me. They weren't me, and they weren't on this podcast.
Yeah. So it's none of it is completely true either direction. There's always me somewhere in the middle, and there's times with it as well. So it's cool to be part of something that's so much bigger. It's like there's people that get up and they care about CFC and they want to come to the games and they get in the car and they drive or they fly places. Like my first game as a head coach was up in Canada, and we had a bigger support section than they did. Like that wasn't because of me. That was because of all the work that was done. So if I can help continue that would be cool. So I think we have done that in some ways of the home playoff games, the win in the conference, the records that the guys have achieved. So it's cool to be part of that. And there's so many people that are the factors with it: ticket team, the merch, the social media, the ATs, the coaching staff, even the ownership, the way they embrace it. Right, we've got an owner who follows around everywhere. He's in with the crowd before the game. He's coming down the field. He knows the guys. His family know the guys. So that's really cool to be a part of as well. It feels more than just a job.
So I know this is going a little bit back because we didn't do the thirds, but I would like to hear you talk about, because one thing that happened this year that I don't really remember happening before was an infusion of talent in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
And how much of that was how much of our, I guess, the last third attributed, or can you attribute to that? Or do you think this is something that we will see going forward? Was it a reaction to what you don't think you did earlier in the season, or
it's
what?
probably everything. I mean, you go into a season thinking, look at the first 8 games of my career. We beat Atlanta United. I'd be a championship team. I'm like, oh, I might be the best coach in the world. I keep winning. Like everything's going right. Even against Atlanta, I'm like, oh, we should have won that game. So the things you see and think at the start of the year, it's important, like being flexible and adaptable, right? Okay, we need to add here. We had injuries. There was guys that were beat up, that we were in ice packs all the time, that maybe people don't see. They only see them on a Saturday, but Monday to Wednesday, they're shuffling about and hiding it. So it's not the players that came in were a big part of us improving. The players that were already there were a big part of us improving. Yeah, it kind of goes both ways. If we know we needed some extra support because of fatigue, injuries, it's a long year. We had so many games in so many days. We're away for large periods of the month. So it's factors to it. I think anytime you can adjust and improve, it's common for the pro world as well. The January window, it opens up.
Yeah.
So us having a window, I think, is important for us. You look at the two teams. There's going to be academy guys that end up being 2 players in the summer. There's going to be first teamers that are in that team more, and both ways. So it's just, that's what football is. It changes. So I think we have to be open to it, and anything we can do to help guys, whether it's bring in more players, have days off, extra food, travel earlier, travel later, all those types of things are factors in it. And there's never just one thing that makes it easy. Even the team with the best players, they win most of the time, but not all of the time. Team with the worst players don't lose all the time. So there's so many like small gains all over you have to try to get. And I think that's part of it. We got guys that we felt that could help us, and they came in and they did.
Do you feel like there will always, or not maybe not always, but as in this next season, as an example, I realize we're not through the offseason, we haven't signed all our players, but do you foresee there being opportunities in the summer, just like there are opportunities in the January transfer window every year?
I think if the way the club's right, if there's opportunities to improve, the club is flexible with that, right? It's can we make this better here? Can we get better there? That's, you see that throughout the club with the way they run it, from the board level to the owners to throughout. It's not just, we're going to make this decision in December and then we'll redecide then. We've got that bigger picture, and then it's okay, how can we help us get closer to our goals here and there? So I think that's just part of the game. We've seen that it can be beneficial, but you never know the situation that we're in with it. I mean, there's other changes that the club could make as well that could go either direction. So it's just part of it.
Because if I was gonna say, building on that, like I felt like getting Luke out of the PDL essentially, like that seems to me like I hadn't considered it before because we didn't. I don't think we made any signings the year before in the middle of the season. So just like, or we didn't make it that many if we made any. So like I was thinking like, well, maybe every year there are a couple PDL guys that don't get a chance potentially with other teams because, I don't know, rosters are already set or whatever else. So I don't know if there's a loophole, probably too strong of a word, but there's an opportunity there to.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's guys that get released from places. There's guys that we don't. There's guys that we would like to sign right now, and they are waiting for what they feel is something better. And then by the time that doesn't work out, it doesn't suit us. So, there's guys that going to wait and get drafted, and then they don't get drafted, and then okay, I'm going to go into first team preseason, and they go into first team preseason, they don't get picked up, and then it becomes March, and they've got nowhere to go, so they play in the USL or the PDL, and then they become available. So, we don't want to wait for those. If it's the right time, it's the right time. So there's always going to be guys that go under the radar for whatever reason. There's guys that might be injured right now that don't get something, that become fit and are ready to go then. There's guys that move for family reasons or think that maybe one team signs somebody else and they get bumped out. There's so much movement in other areas of the game that we have to try and be flexible and be open for it. If we can get better, let's get better.
How do you feel about the calendar change?
I don't want to go north in January or February.
I don't think you're going to.
Yeah, I don't mind that calendar in the rest of the world. When I was watching it, it's great to be watching games on Christmas Day. Playing, it'll be interesting how it works because of the resources of the league. There's teams that it's going to be difficult for them to train, so they've got to come up with that. But
you're going to Toronto in January.
Yeah, but if you talk to teams in the Premier League about they want to play in the summer, no, they don't. So it's just the reverse of it. I think it's good to align with the world, maybe in terms of transfers and opportunities for players, and opportunities for clubs as well. It makes sense that way. I mean, we wouldn't be having this World Cup issue that we potentially might have if we had that window. So it's the rest of the world do. It probably makes sense to align where we can.
For listeners, I don't know how much we've talked about it on this podcast, but the MLS Board of Governors has voted to adjust their calendar in the 2027 year. So they will finish their 2026 season with a very long, it's like a 40-day break, basically, for the World Cup. So they will come back in mid to late July, and they will finish the season with MLS Cup in December. They will then come in for preseason in January and have a sprint season in the spring of 2027.
A NISA sprint season.
It is essentially the NISA Fall 2021 season.
Members Cup.
As a kind of a line break. Then they will break for the summer, and then come back with the first regular season games in mid or late-ish July. They will play through. I'm gonna guess they're gonna play through probably the weekend before Christmas. That's not confirmed at this point in time. And then take a winter break. They allegedly no games from probably just before Christmas through January, and then begin in early to mid-February, which will be a very, very different type of season. There will be different things that go into it, retooling, etc. The winter break will be a good time to adjust some stuff. And then they'll play through April, playoffs in May, which also means for us, and this may be way too early to really have a... Number one, MLS Next Pro has not officially voted on this yet. It gonna pass.
I say we all just assume that if big MLS does it, then we're gonna do it too.
Yeah, but like that has not been done. But like the USL with a second division and a third division league,
who
does
never heard of them.
There's no indication that they are planning on changing. They teased this several years ago, and it was uniformly rejected by the member franchises. So that's a lot of players that could be coming up out of contract essentially in the middle of our future seasons. That might provide a different kind of dynamic to, whether it's guys coming from PDL midseason now for us, or just like out of contract with absolutely nothing going on. Now it could be like legitimate pros.
Yeah, I mean, you see it now with the international players that are playing internationally. Their season finishes May, and that's when they become free. So there's lots of Americans abroad, and then there's international guys that could be a good fit here.
Yeah.
how big of an impact was our first MLS loan, Gavin Turner? Because I felt like he really I mean, I don't ever want to dive too deep into like singular players, but I do feel like in a positive way, he really gave us some legs and the kind of the start to the push that ended up eventually like coming out of that slump and then going whatever.
Yeah, he had a good first goal as well. So we worked on that a couple of days before, and like, don't worry about the XG on this one. So yeah, I wasn't too bothered by that.
That was the ultimate like XG doesn't matter quote. Like
I
shot.
said, if it goes in the goal, it doesn't matter. The XG only comes in when it hits a chair or something behind the goal. So he was a huge impact. We talk about players that kind of fit the league. And we're fortunate that the place he was at didn't have really opportunities for him. And again, that was something where he'd started there. And then it became middle of the year where there was that opportunity for it. But we saw like the impact with him on the field, the games that he started when he came in as a sub, just that little bit of difference. He had that kind of identity that does fit and impacts the league. So yeah, he was huge, and such a young guy as well. So it was cool to him to come in, experience a different professional world, and be a part of that.
We're going to ask Sebastian this, so Sebastian, just go ahead and prepare your answer. But I want to pose the same question to you. Is that something that we sought out to do, or kind of took advantage of an opportunity that was good for both sides? Do we plan on doing more of that? Like, how does that fit into what we're trying to do?
I think that market for loans is big because we know there's a lot of good players at that level that maybe aren't getting opportunities because of who's in front of them. So we give them a different we give them a first team environment, which is different to where they might be. They might not be getting the minutes at other places. There was opportunities for other loans that just didn't quite work out from other MLS club /2 teams. There's things we're looking at for next year as well. It's good for us because you get a high level player coming in who's been in a good environment and come through a good academy system. So there's definitely a lot of positives for that. I mean, the negative is when they do well, you don't get to keep them and they go back. There's always the risk that someone brings them back in, but it's kind of it works for both clubs. So no, we were fortunate to have a relationship with some people up there, and they reached out, and it was good to get him in.
Did you ever have any like concern that they might call him back if he played well for us? It's like calling back in the middle of the season.
Yeah, after he scored that goal, I said, "Don't do that again. They're going to fire you back next week." So
that goal was unbelievable.
There's always that. I think before we spoke about it, and the plan was they wanted him to be here and experience that it was more than just take him until he becomes good. Like take him and this whole experience for him of being in a team fighting for the title and fighting for playoffs, and then being around with older guys and younger guys and a mixture of it, and being away from home, playing in the summer, all those things.
For some of these academy graduates into first team MLS contracts, like and maybe Gavin specifically, but maybe not, like that could be their first time ever like leaving home for a significant amount of time.
And we have those conversations where sometimes it's good for guys to get into a different environment. Like you've spent many years in going to those same training fields as the academy and the same kit, and now it's a little bit different. So it's good for them to go out and test the real world as well. So it was, I think it's a positive, not just for his ability to play on the field, or their ability to play on the field, but their ability to experience being a pro.
It seemed to be an overall positive for all parties involved. I mean, it was certainly good for us, and he got playing time. So I would.
I think it was very positive. I think everyone was happy with it. He enjoyed his time here, and it's part of the game that sometimes you don't get to keep guys for too long. But for what everybody wanted, it was almost maybe 3 more games would have been nice with him. But other than that, it was what we liked.
I've also noticed that there are MLS Next Pro teams and I guess probably MLS 1 teams who loan players out to USL Championship, and then they're there for like 8 games, and then they get called back. And I've always thought that was it would be devastating is probably the wrong word, but like really, really annoying. If like you were building a roster, like as a coach and a technical director, and like you get a guy and you have him for less than half of the season, and then they go, "Oh nope, we got an injury, come back," or whatever the case may be. So I don't know how. I mean, do you think about that? Like, do you?
Yeah, it just depends on their expectations of what they're trying to do. I think that most clubs are quite open that this is the reason he's not going to play here, and then if they've got someone ahead of him or someone underneath him that they're pushing, if that guy goes out, they're in a position they're just going to bring somebody else in. So they'll tell you they're quite open with it. And then it would be tough, but I guess that's just
part of it.
Just part of it, right? So it enables us to get a different type of player that we wouldn't get. So embracing it, they were quite honest with their expectations of what they wanted from the start. And I think that's part of the relationship. You hope that they'll be honest and we'll be honest. And like, if you're going to help us, we're going to play you. If you're not going to help us, we're not going to play you. and that kind of good feedback on both directions.
That makes sense. Do you have some more listener questions?
I'm saving a few of them.
Okay. I didn't write those down. I wrote down my notes.
Yeah. Okay. Let me
What are
go
they saving for?
next week.
I'm coming back again. I'm going to be out. I'm not coming back after what happened last time. No.
No, next week when we talk about you again, when you're
yeah,
not here,
that's it. Yeah,
we'll
I'm
have
gonna
these questions.
Be an avid
When
listener
Breezy
now,
goes, when Breezy takes that PowerPoint and dissects it.
I still gotta wrap my head around.
I've got one. We'll ask it to Sebastian too. But I've got one for you. New housing. A lot of times, and for CFC's entire history up until now, like team housing has been in the UTC dorms or in some apartment complex, and I imagine it's kind of similar a lot of places in the lower divisions. But we're building housing that we own, we control, that will be consistent year over year. There was a really nice article in the newspaper, which I still can't read, physically holding. Damn you, Times Free Press.
He's mad they don't deliver the physical newspaper anymore because he's 800 years old.
Okay.
They gave him an iPad and said you can just watch it on this iPad.
It's not the same. You can't get a coffee stain on an iPad. It's like bad.
You can if you leave it long enough.
Yeah. So, but anyway, like a lot of one bedroom apartments, so that guys actually have their own, like their completely own space in that, and some other amenities and cool things. What's kind of the early reception on feedback when it comes to recruiting, or at least some of our own players that have been here for a while?
Yeah, no, it's really positive. I mean, we share some of the renderings with potential recruits. They always talk about housing, and obviously being in a one bedroom is a big aspect. The guys have been probably sharing through college or through the academy career, so to be able to have like their own housing is huge. To be in the location it is, to be a brand new building that's kind of catered for soccer players is massive. So I think all the guys are looking forward to, whether they're returning or not, are going to be excited for it.
There's a bar right upstairs.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to be allowed in that.
Yeah, the key card may not work.
I think they're going to be certain areas they have access to or not. Well, we'll see. I got a spare security camera. I'm going to have that
at the entrance to the bar.
Yeah.
We just announced an extension with Fareed. Can you talk a little bit about him? I mean, he stepped in, from my perspective, in a really big way. He wore the captain's armband for 3/4 of the season, a little more than that this year. Yeah, would you mind talking a little bit about what it means to get that extension done and kind of his contribution?
It's huge. I mean, we've seen the impact that Fareed's had this year as a centre back. Last year, he played all across the back line and a bit in midfield. He came in and was late being able to play because of visas and things like that. So he didn't quite get as much time as maybe I think he deserved. I was always a big fan of Fareed watching him. So for him to come in, be a leader, whether he has an armband on or not. I think my first game up in Toronto, he was one of the leaders anyway, whether it was he's got an armband on or not. So he's massive as a captain, as a leader. His training habits are huge. He trains like it is a final every single day.
I love that.
Yeah, some fantastic battles with players as well. And sometimes you got to
Is he one of the guys you have to calm down in practice because he has no non-practice reps?
Yeah, as long as he doesn't tackle me, I'm okay with it. Just like, keep out of the way. But yeah, he loves being here. His girlfriend has visited. He loves the city. Like he's one of us as from Chattanooga. Like he wants to be here, and that's a cool thing as well. So he embodies some of the stuff we want the club to do. And we've seen it with other guys we've extended. So trying to have that core of guys in. Now we're in a different kind of pro league where you do have some consistency. That's going to be big for us because the other teams are not maybe going to get that. They're going to be changes up and down. Yeah. So you see it in the rest of the world that those longer contracts of guys sticking around and being part of it, whether they are on the field every minute or they're in the locker room every minute, those are difference makers.
Similar question, but Alex, and getting Alex back. Obviously, he's committed now to a longer term contract. I guess what are your feelings there and your?
Yeah, same thing. I mean, I've known Alex for such a long time. He was with us before at Stumptown.
Oh, you had him at Stumptown too.
Yeah, for the remainder of the season. So he's, again, another guy that he's got a life here and he wants to be here and he embodies kind of what we're doing as a team. His training standards are high, his personal standards are high. Obviously incredibly frustrated that he didn't get to play, and he was, even when he found out was injured, he was willing to play that next game. He's like, oh, take me up and I'll go. So he's the type of person you want guys to meet when they come in. They see him, the same with Fareed, the same with the other leaders. They see him, this is who we are, like this is who our identity is. So it's huge to have two big guys coming back in. And like I said, we missed Alex a lot last year with with the playing time, we had to adjust a little bit because of it. That's football. So I'm excited for him to get back to full fitness and to be impacting us on and off the field again.
Yeah, totally.
Absolutely. Couple new players coming in. Yves from Crown Legacy, and then Anton from Charlotte Independence. Are we only allowed to recruit from Charlotte?
No,
and is Wilfred not Zaha the next signing?
Yeah, I can't confirm or deny that. I can't talk about anyone specific who it is. Yeah, Charlotte's a good area. I mean, Matthews is a good area. There's some good soccer going on down there. No, we got some experience with both of those guys of knowing them. He went to school in Johnson City as well, so he's a Tennessee boy.
I know that he played.
We like the local guys. So Eldon's a local guy, Alex a local guy, Farid's a local guy.
Farid's a local guy now. You're a local guy now.
Yeah, we like these local guys. So that's what Chattanooga's about as well. So there's other areas of recruiting. I don't think we've got anyone on the docket that is Charlotte at the moment. So we've got a few other places.
But like someone like Yves played at least a year of PDL for, I think, one of our assistant coaches at Salem.
At Salem City, yeah. So they had a relationship there, and then he was at NC State after ETSU.
And then a year of experience in the league, so we know a little bit what he can do.
Played a lot. I think the only times he didn't was when a first teamer kind of dropped in front of him. So Anton was with Philly as well growing up, so he's experiencing the MLS system, and then it was a big player at Charlotte as well last year.
Yeah.
I mean, anyone that comes out of Philly, I am immediately interested in.
Yeah,
I've never seen a bad Philly next pro team player.
Yeah. The cool thing is there's things that are always in the works, and it gets out in the public a few weeks after. So it's just the way that they came out that it seems like, these guys only going to Charlotte.
Well, I guess this is a later question. This isn't a now question because it's still early December. It's still early in the roster build, and there are things. We have the public list of players, and then there's other stuff that's that we'll figure out later on. But you mentioned earlier on about kind of changing some things to be more to be better suited for the league in terms of pressing a little bit higher. I assume pressing a little bit higher means that the back line's gonna their back line is gonna be a little bit higher in conjunction. Both of those players in the clips that I've been able to see seem to be fairly athletic, and I'm assuming that's like part of the plan. Like personnel is policy.
We got to find players that fit the positional profiles, the athletic profiles of the league, and also of us. So I think we want players that can continue to improve us and add something to it. And those guys and the other guys we're looking to will help us get closer to how we'd like to play.
Yeah.
Is that an endorsement of Terrorball?
Oh, jeez.
I'm not going to endorse anything on this. No endorsements from here.
That's reasonable.
Yeah.
Oh, stop it. Nick's just licking my leg. Oh, something else you said last podcast, and this will be my last reference to last podcast for you.
We'll see.
I really enjoyed this piece, and I felt like it also showed our season a lot. You said there are moments of magic, individual brilliance that can win or lose you a game, but as a coach, you wanted to create situations that allow players to have. Maybe that's a moment of brilliance, or just create situations through coaching and then let players, if they create a moment of brilliance outside of that, whether it's offensively or defensively. How do you think about, I know we talked a little about defensively, what kind of shots we want, but how do you think about creating moments or situations that we like?
Again, goes back to the player profiles. Like we spoke about one of the guys on the clips, he has a tendency to cut in and do that. All the players have tendencies of what they want to do. We spoke about Farid's the way he wants to defend. So you find in those that you feel fit in with what the team wants to do, and then the players are going to make those plays as well in the end, right? When Gavin, that's a moment of magic that wasn't coached, that wasn't worked on. He felt that was the right time, and his ability to do it. You see when Eldon has the ball, he may play this pass or that pass, or it's like, wow, you want those guys to hopefully be in somewhat positions where that appeals to them. And it'd be the same with midfielders and wingers. So it's just trying to find guys that will add. And we talk the guys that we signed, they will have certain tendencies that will help us play a different way, which then creates a different picture, and you're going to get moments of magic or moments of luck or randomness throughout that as well.
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
I mean, we've seen as well guys score wonder goals against us, and it's not just through luck, it's through like they were put in the position to do that. Like we've seen high level player guys slip in and go and beat two guys and then put it top corner, and that's what they can do, and that was the right moment for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, luckily we didn't see as much of that. I think Eldon had a bit to play this year.
Yeah, but it's the same thing for him, right? But you have to remember he spent however many years of his life preparing to be able to do those types of things. Like to say it's luck for any of them is tough. I think preparation has got him there.
I think we saw there were levels to this this year, in particular when it came to him.
Yeah.
One of the Chet Hooligans who does a bunch of, he does some data stuff and whatever else, and some of the data stuff that he did was just like spot the Premier League goalkeeper in the data.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's very apparent when when Eldon makes magic happen. Well, I think we're about done here. Unless you have something else you wanted us to ask you about.
A second presentation.
No, that was it. Just the one presentation. I don't know if anyone's still around after that. But I'm gonna go back and listen to what you said last week, and then maybe I'll be back. You hear a bang on the door now. Come back in. Give me that microphone.
You should not listen to what we said last week or what I said last week. But but thank you for being willing to come on and obviously give us a presentation, but also be generous with your time. Not only defend your work, which matters too, but also just be accessible and be. I think it's one of the reasons you're here, obviously, and one of the reasons you're at the helm of what I think is the greatest soccer club in the universe is because the kind of human you are, not just how good a coach you are. Like you're willing to go. I mean, I joked about you being in front of the cameras and like seeing your face, but also like you were willing to go in front of the cameras after every single game. I don't think there were home games. I don't think we do it on the road. But there weren't home games where you didn't go in front of the cameras. You know, to my knowledge, you didn't say like I'm out of this. I'm not doing this anymore. So yeah, thank you for being willing
but
to.
I never followed it. I walked out the locker room.
You probably felt like
I said it in the shower. And okay, I'm walking over there and do it. It's part of it. It's cool to be part of something like this. So I appreciate you guys having interest in it, whether it's good or bad interest to talk about it. So it's you never want people talking about you behind your back, but I guess it was on YouTube. I can go there and listen to it.
It was definitely it was said publicly. It was for sure said publicly.
So, no, it's cool that there's an interest in the things I do in the club, and I get to be part of it. So I try to embrace these good moments, not to be bad moments, and hopefully it outweighs on the positive side.
Last question for you. It's rapid fire.
Okay.
Which player on 2025's team do you think most embodied X-Dog?
Oh, expected dog.
Expected
Do you know
dog.
what do you know what he's like? That dog mentality that he's referring to? Who had the highest dog mentality of this?
Is there data for this? Have you got an Xbox
No, I don't
before
have
I come
I
out?
don't
And
have an
is this
X-Dog.
going to catch me next week if we're going wrong with it?
No.
There's a couple. It'd be tough to point it down. I think that there was a few guys that stepped up at different times. I think Farid, obviously,
That's who I was going to say.
is an obvious one. Eldon as well. Like those were big. And then there's different guys that came in. Luke came in midway through the year
Yeah, I'd say
as a
Luke
pro.
is
And
definitely one.
5 minutes into the game, he's thrown as a centre back, which he'd never even played before. So then you got Tate taking penalties in the 90th minute. Like so there's a lot of guys on that. So I think there's a lot of guys that can get the shout out for it. There's guys that were on the bench that would turn up every day and train. There was guys that came on and took a penalty and did nothing else. So that's kind of a big question for it. I know you didn't really want me to
No,
spread it out.
I'm happy.
but I
I'm
think-
happy with this.
I mean, there's times Marcus came on the field and took a penalty. He didn't do anything. He tied his shorts up, ran on, banged a penalty in, and walked back. Like
That's a point.
yeah, I mean that's
a point if you win.
as well. So yeah, there was quite a few areas, and I think those guys pushed themselves to be like that, and you saw that in training as well, and that's why the guys never gave up, kept going.
All right. Well, I'm going to petition American Soccer Analysis for an X-Dog category.
Yeah,
dog.
there you go. Talk about that instead of mine. I look for the episode when you get Opto, whoever it is, on, and they can explain that.
Oh
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
can you imagine?
You can get their robot on as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna need it. I need to explain itself for some of those ones. Listeners, viewers, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. We love you, and we will catch up with you soon. Peace.